Good evening, everyone. Meeting will come to order. Madam Clerk, could you please read the adequate notice of compliance statement?
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the City Clerk's office in preparation of the council meeting notice dated January 14th, 2021, which was properly distributed and posted per statutory requirements.
Thank you. And could we have a roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bowman?
Here.
Ms. Hairston?
Here.
Ms. Little?
Here.
Mr. Naidu?
Here.
Mr. O'Sullivan?
Here.
Mr. Vartan?
Present.
President Fox?
Here. And now it's time for the Pledge of Allegiance. If we can all do it together, please. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Madam Clerk, would you please read the notices regarding closed session and hearings and comments, please?
Yes. A closed session meeting as authorized by state statute was announced and held prior to the start of this meeting, and the known items for discussion were listed on the published closed session agenda. Please be advised that council meetings are broadcast live on Comcast Channel 36 and Verizon Channel 30, and rebroadcast on Thursdays and Saturdays on HTTV on Comcast 36 and Verizon 33. This meeting is also being streamed live through YouTube. To view this meeting on YouTube, please visit the city's website at cityofsummit.org and click on the YouTube icon at the top of the homepage. While this meeting is being broadcast live and members of the governing body are participating remotely, steps have been put in place to accommodate public input during this meeting through public notice dated January 14th, 2021, which provided information for those wishing to participate during public comment periods at this council meeting. The city clerk's office also provided through public notice instructions on how the public could submit a question or comment via email or regular first-class mail in advance of the meeting. Public comments will be permitted at specified times as outlined in the agenda. Please refrain from commenting until solicited by the council president. For those members of the public who wish to make a comment during a designated public comment period, please use the raise hand feature and you will be called upon by the council president. Unless you are using an electronic device to follow the meeting agenda or need it for professional emergency contact purposes, please turn it off. And lastly, we ask that all participants remain on mute unless called upon to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. And now moving on to minutes for approval. Do I have a motion to approve the closed session appointment meeting minutes of December 14th, 2020, and the regular and closed session meeting minutes of December 15th, 2020?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Moving on, we've got reports. Madam Mayor, would you like to give your report, please?
Yes, thank you, Council President, and good evening and welcome, everyone. Earlier today, I recorded a Facebook Live video with other fellow First Foundation President Brett Hare, sharing information on a $10,000 challenge grant to benefit the Warm Hearts Initiative that provides much needed support for our homeless citizens. The Other Fellow First Foundation is trying to raise $10,000 and will match an additional $10,000 donation to the program. Please consider supporting the essential work that benefits our most vulnerable neighbors. Go to otherfellowfirstfoundation.org to make a donation by credit card, or you can mail a check to the Other Fellow First Foundation at 47 Summit Avenue, Summit 07901. Thank you in advance for your support. Those now eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine should register online at both the State of New Jersey website at covid19.nj.gov/vaccine and at the Union County website at ucnj.org, or by calling Union County at 908-518-4307. That's 908-518-4307. If ineligible to receive vaccinations now, you can register on the State of New Jersey site, but will not be allowed to pre-register on the Union County site and must wait until you are eligible to register. City staff has been working to secure a partnership for a local vaccination distribution at the Summit Community Center for residents age 65 and older and those age 16 to 64 with a diagnosed chronic condition. Registration will be online and by telephone. As soon as we have more information to share, we will. In the meantime, private providers such as Summit Medical Group, CVS, ShopRite, and Walgreens are waiting for vaccine supply and will administer vaccinations when they receive it. Check their websites for information and to register. Since much of this is online, please lend assistance to your elderly friends and neighbors. Our goal is to continue vaccinations at the community center until our entire community can receive a vaccination if they want one. And we hope you all do. Yesterday, I participated in Summit's Martin Luther King Day of Justice, Equality, and Service to Others. And although it was very different from other years due to COVID-19 pandemic restrictions, the programs were meaningful and well executed. I want to thank Annette Dwyer and the Shaping Summit Together and members of the Interfaith Council for all of your hard work to make the day a success, and to the Summit Police Department for its excellent traffic control during the afternoon car procession past 11 sites and houses of worship. And finally, given what is happening nationally, I am extremely thankful for the collegial and productive working relationships among our members of Common Council. Regardless of your political affiliation, I am your mayor, and it is a priority for me to continue to work for solutions to issues that impact us all locally. And I want to reassure you that we are safe in our community, and this council will continue to do the people's business. I look forward to reinstating my office hours in the not too distant future. And in the meantime, you can always email me at nradist@cityofsummit.org, or you can call me at 908-516-8077. Thank you. And that's all I have tonight, Council President.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And now on to to Michael Rogers for the City Administrator's report.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. I'll start off by reminding Summit residents that curbside Christmas tree pickup is ongoing through Friday, January 29th. All ornaments, lights, and decorations must be removed, and trees should be removed from plastic bags. Important property tax information for seniors. The Senior Freeze Program reimburses eligible senior citizens and disabled persons for property tax increases on their primary residence. The deadline for 2019 reimbursements has been extended to February 1st, 2021. More information on how to apply and eligibility requirements are available on the State of New Jersey website at nj.gov/treasury/taxation. Otherwise, you could call the tax collection office and reach them by phone, and they could guide you on how to apply for that program. And I'll just end my report on a comment about recent phone scams. If you or a loved one receives a suspicious phone call stating a family member has been arrested and needs immediate funds, such as cash or a gift card, for bail or legal representation, please contact the Summit Police Department immediately at 908-273-0051. Do not provide personal information or confirm information over the phone with these individuals. Bail can never be posted with a gift card. No law enforcement agency will ask for any form of payment by gift card or cash being left at a residence. So please heed that information. It is something that has been escalating recently in our community. And that's all I have for this evening, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you. And now on to the Council President's report. On Wednesday, January 6th, a violent mob stormed the U.S. Capitol, emboldened by fiery post-election rhetoric and claims of election fraud. While our national political scene is rife with polarization, I appreciate how our municipal government remains pragmatic, working to get things done. The one thing that all of us serving on council have in common is our love for Summit. And while we may not always agree on how to execute policy or which initiatives we should be undertaking, we all work for the benefit of our city, our residents, and our business community. On another note, this evening at 5:30 p.m., the Presidential Inauguration Committee held the first ever lighting around the reflecting pool in Washington, D.C. to memorialize the more than 400,000 American lives lost during the COVID-19 pandemic. Communities around the country joined Washington, D.C. in lighting up buildings and ringing church bells in a national moment of unity and remembrance. I want to thank the Interfaith Council in Summit for organizing the bell ringing, and I'd like to thank City Hall staff for illuminating the front of City Hall, which will remain lit for the remainder of the evening. And I'd now like to ask for a moment of silence in remembrance of the lives lost. Thank you. And I guess now we will move on to the regular business. First of all, public comment. At this point in the meeting, members of the public will have an opportunity to comment on any matter not on the agenda. And I'd ask that before you speak, I raise your hand and I will recognize you. If you could please give your full name and your address, and keep your comment to under 3 minutes. I'd appreciate that. So let's see. Anna Estupinan, go ahead. See if I can. I don't think I have an unmute capability, Madam Clerk.
Council President, just give me a moment to make that adjustment for you.
Yep.
You should be okay now.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Council President and Mayor Radist, for the opportunity to speak. My name is Anna Estupinan, and I live at 88 Portland Road in Summit. I'm a 16-year-old junior at Summit High School and the student representative on the Recycling Advisory Committee. I'd like to use my time today to talk about the future of our planet and the importance of being sustainably minded in Summit. Taking a look back at summer 2020 in the Garden State, we see a continuing trend of warmer conditions. It was another season for the record books. June, July, and August combined to create the second warmest summer in New Jersey's history, according to records that go back to 1895. As we enter the new year, the environment and our actions towards mitigating the effects of climate change must be on the forefront of our everyday decisions. Our lives quite literally depend on it, and everyone should realize that our small, everyday choices matter. Two important and impactful everyday decisions are to reduce our plastic use and to recycle correctly. I would like to remind residents to please only recycle plastics 1, 2, and 5. That means no plastic bags, and to make sure that all recyclables, cardboard and mixed paper, are clean and dry. The everyday decision to participate in special recycling collections around town is also impactful. The Recycling Advisory Committee supports 3 recycling collections that residents can participate in. There is a string light collection at the transfer station, a tennis ball collection at Memorial and Tatlock Fields, and a collection for old cell phones at the UPS store in Summit. The cell phone collection is a joint effort by the Recycling Advisory Committee and Summit's Post 322 of the American Legion, supporting the Cell Phones for Soldiers collection program. These are small but important steps towards sustainability, but there is still much to do. We as a community need to look out for future generations. Every time you recycle a piece of plastic correctly, drive to a materials collection, or use that reusable water bottle instead of a plastic one, you are investing in the future of our town. You have that responsibility. We all do. Time has shown us that national change almost always begins locally. The changes and decisions we make every day will impact our community, our state, our country, and our planet. We cannot afford to wait. We need to act now with sustainably minded choices. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and thank you also for your service on the Recycling Advisory Committee. The work that the committee does is extremely important, and it's great that you're coming to meetings and making these comments and educating the public. So please continue with everything you're doing, and we appreciate all of your work. So moving on. The next person is Abe. You can go ahead and speak.
Hi, good evening. Abe Casbo, 253 Kent Place Boulevard. I just wanted to take a moment to thank Mayor Radist and Council Member Susan Hairston for meeting with us, with the neighbors, last Saturday night at 5 p.m. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to working with you on this BMS issue. So thank you both very much.
Abe, you're quite welcome, and it was a productive conversation. And as you know, a couple of things are happening, and we asked if you'd just be patient. I know you feel you've been patient, and you have been patient for a while, but as I made a commitment to you, we want to do everything we can to come to a reasonable solution for both you, the neighbors, and for BMS. So it'll take a little time, but we are committed to working on it and getting something that is satisfactory to everyone. But I really appreciate it. We learned a lot, and I have work to do.
Great. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Are there any other comments from members of the public? Okay, so hearing no other comments, I'm going to close the public comment period, and we'll go on to resolutions. So let's see. So we'll start out with, we have two finance resolutions. Councilmember Vartan, would you like to?
Thank you, Council President. This first resolution is number 7616. This resolution authorizes transfer of appropriations within the operating budget from accounts with a surplus to those with insufficient funds. This is a regular occurrence until the 2021 operating budget is finalized. I move to adopt this resolution.
Second.
Okay, are there any comments from members of council? Any comments from members of the public? Okay, all right, hearing none. Madam Clerk, could you do a roll call, please?
Certainly. Mr. Bowman,
Aye.
Ms. Hairston,
Aye.
Ms. Little,
Aye.
Mr. Naidu,
Aye.
Mr. O'Sullivan,
Aye.
Mr. Vartan,
Aye.
President Fox.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on, finance number 2, Councilmember Vartan.
Thank you, Council President. This is resolution number 7627. This resolution authorizes a special tax appeal attorney to file corrective appeals, counter petitions and counter claims, and stipulations of settlement with Union County Tax Board and the New Jersey Tax Court. This is done annually to support the efficient function of the tax assessor's office. I move to adopt this resolution.
Second.
Are there any comments from members of council? Any comments from members of the public? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we're moving on to community programs and parking services. Councilmember O'Sullivan, would you like to take the first resolution, please?
Thank you, Council President. This is ID number 7606, which will amend the structure of the Silver Summit Senior Citizens Advisory Committee to allow for subcommittees and ad hoc committees. The chair of Silver Summit, Tracy Keegan, has put in hours of thought and research as to the best approach for the structure of this committee. Her research included studying committee structures and best practices of other towns with similar senior citizen advisory committees. This resolution will make Silver Summit easier to run and organize. We are so fortunate in Summit to have scores of volunteers ready to act and this new structure will enable Silver Summit Senior Citizens Advisory Committee and Ms. Keegan to get boots on the ground to accomplish tasks relevant to the committee's mission. And I move this resolution.
We need a
Sorry,
second.
second.
Got to learn our new committees, right?
No, new committee, I apologize.
Okay.
I enthusiastically second.
Great. Any comments from members of council? Any comments from members of the public? So hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? And motion carries. Community programs number 2, Councilmember O'Sullivan.
Thank you, Council President. This is ID number 7625 to authorize the purchase through Educational Services Commission of New Jersey Cooperative Pricing System for the Investors Bank Field Track Resurfacing, not to exceed $338,300. This project was included in the city's capital budget planning process in 2019. Additionally, funding for the new track has been secured through a 2019 Union County Kids Recreation Trust Fund matching grant in the amount of $62,000. I just want to quickly explain the lack of bidding process and pricing for this project. Field Turf USA holds the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey cooperative license. So the ESCNJ provides predetermined preferential pricing through approved vendors. Since this product has already been bid at the national level, individual owners do not have to go through another formal bidding process. The Investors Bank Field Tatlock Track is the home facility for the Summit High School track team for interscholastic events and practices. It's used by our Department of Community Programs and is heavily used by recreational runners and walkers. This truly is a community asset. The track surface is over 13 years old and showing deterioration. Besides the track, we will be getting a new long jump runway and a triple jump. These upgrades are needed to comply with the New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association and the National Federation of High Schools to allow Summit to host large track meets such as the Summit Relays. Field Turf USA has done nearly every track in the state, and we are confident they will do an expert job in a timely fashion. The new track will look amazing and comes with a 5-year warranty. We can expect work to begin shortly after the Summit High School graduation and be completed in a few weeks, depending on weather conditions. And I move this resolution.
I second.
Any comments from members of council? Councilmember Little.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to add that this project has been on the schedule to be completed for quite some time. We just first discussed it my first year on council when I was on the Community Programs Committee, and we've been pushing it off. Both the Board of Education and the Athletic Director, Mark Ozorowski, everyone's been working hard to keep this track going well past its expected life by patching, repairing, making do with the surface that we had. It's definitely overdue for this project. And with this project, I think we can all be very proud and happy to see all the improvements that have taken place at Tatlock Field with the new bleachers, the new turf fields, the new track here, the new press box. This facility is really in great shape and is a real asset for Summit, and we can all take pride in that. But this project is long overdue and will make many, many, many people in Summit very happy when it's completed. So I enthusiastically support it.
Thank you. Councilmember Bowman, did you have a comment?
I do. I 100% agree that the track needs a refinishing. However, my problem isn't with the project, nor the bidding, but more about the bidding process. When I read the scope, it seems like there's a polyurethane, it's a fancy word for painting, and some touch-up work that's being done on the track. My problem is I really think that we need to challenge the co-op to go out and get better pricing for future projects. My personal problem with the project, again, isn't the project. It's more about the co-op pricing. So at that point, and for that reason, I have a problem with the project.
Councilmember Little.
In response to that, I will say that Director Ozrowski did get some other bids just to compare pricing, and the other bids were significantly higher than the co-op pricing. Also, there was some question about whether the track should be kind of dug up and completely replaced, but the company did come out and check that the base of the track is very structurally sound, and that this less expensive kind of resurfacing was going to be what was appropriate to keep the track going for a long time in the future. But to that point, Steve, and to reassure you, Director Ozrowski did ask some other companies to give us bids, and they were significantly higher.
Thank you, Councilmember Little. It's very helpful to know. Are members of council? Okay, any comments from members of the public? Okay, so coming back to council, I'm fully in support of this project. I think the amount of usage of the track is, I would say, it's one of the assets that in Summit that's the most well used, and a number of people, both our student athletes and just residents of the community, will benefit from this. So I think this is a great project, and I'm very happy to see that it's finally getting done. So unless anyone else has anything to say, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in, Councilmember Naidu, are you just a hand wave? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. So the motion carries. Moving on, we have one law and labor matter. Councilmember Bowman.
Yes, as we discussed, this is a law and labor 7628. As we discussed, it's a extended leave with pay for a parking service employee. We have an employee who's undergoing a surgery, and as we discussed, he will be out through March 16th. He has plenty of time. He's a long-term employee. We hope he will have a successful surgery and come back healthy and quickly. I move this resolution.
I second it.
Any comments from members of council? Any comments from members of the public? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And moving on, we have a number of resolutions from Capital Projects and Community Services. Councilmember Little.
As usual.
Yep.
Thank you, Council President. The first capital projects resolution is number 7615, and it's to reject bid and authorize abandonment of the 2021-2022 on-call landscaping services. And what happened is that we received only one bid for this service, and it had a number of deficiencies in the bid. And then when we reviewed the need for the contract, we realized that we hadn't in the last few years exceeded an amount of $5,000, and it was determined that we can probably handle this in-house, or at least assess it over the next year and determine whether it can be done in-house or needs to be bid out for the 2022-23 year. So we are asking to reject this bid and abandon this project.
I second it.
Are there any comments from members of council? Any comments from members of the public? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Capital projects number 2, Councilmember Little.
Thank you, Council President. This is resolution number 7505, and it's to adopt the city's stop sign installation guidelines. If you'll recall, we recently adopted traffic calming guidelines as well, but these are the stop sign installation guidelines. And these have been developed because over the last few years, the city has seen an increase in requests from the public for the installations of stop signs. And it became clear that in making these requests, some members of the public weren't aware of the necessary formalities that the city has to follow in order to install a stop sign and evaluate the need for one. So we have worked together, the engineering along with the police department and the public safety council committee and the CAP committee have developed these stop sign installation guidelines. We had a presentation on this by Aaron Traeger recently, and we are now asking to adopt this by council. So I ask that we adopt the city's stop sign installation guidelines at this time.
I second it.
Are there any comments from members of council? Any comments from members of the public? Okay. Anyone else from anyone on council have anything that they'd like to say? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to capital projects number 3, Councilmember Little.
Thank you, Council President. This is Resolution 7614, and this is to authorize a change order for the fall 2020 tree planting project. And as you know, we approved a contract for tree planting in the city for SJC Lawn Care. They've completed the project for the fall. This is a change order in the amount of $1,725 because 4 of the trees needed to be replaced, need to be relocated in order to ensure that their survival, and 1 tree needed a biobarrier installed to ensure its survival. This is a very common thing that happens when planting large amounts of trees. It's nothing out of the ordinary, and this amount also is within the expected amount of the project. So I ask that we approve this change order for $1,725 for the fall 2020 tree planting.
I second it.
Any comments from members of council? Councilmember Bowman.
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for this. You know, we have as shade tree representative, we have a lot of hope that these trees will be growing for a long time. And we do have a guarantee of what I think 2 years that they're supposed to be there as long as they are maintained. And that's the important word, is that they're going to be maintained. So in order for these things to grow, we need to give them an opportunity to grow. So thank you for this.
Thank you, Councilmember Bowman, and thank you to the Shade Tree Commission Committee, because I know they've done a lot of work in terms of educating the public on how to care for trees and how to care for these trees in particular. So it's a great partnership. So thank you. Are there any other comments from members of council? Are there comments from members of the public? Okay, if there are no other comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to capital projects number 4, Councilmember Little.
Thank you. And number 4 is number 7619, and this is to authorize deer culling at Reeves Arboretum. This is something that occurs often at this time of year, but the Arboretum, which is owned by the City of Summit, is experiencing increase in the deer population at the Arboretum. It's damaging the plants, and there is a need for culling of the deer. So we will work with the county to deer culling program and authorize this to take place at Reeves Arboretum. And I ask that we approve this authorization.
Second it.
Are there any comments from members of council? Are there comments from members of the public? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Moving on to capital projects number 5, Councilmember Little.
Thank you. This is resolution number 6828, which is to authorize execution of an agreement for snow removal and lighting reimbursement for Summit View. And this is pursuant to a New Jersey statute of the Municipal Services Act, where condominium associations may be entitled for reimbursement for certain services, including street lighting and snow removal, which would otherwise be, they would be entitled to receive from the city. So they are reimbursed not at the rate which they pay, but the rate that it would have cost the city to have provided this services. So we am asking that we approve this resolution to reimburse Summit View for these services.
Second.
Any comments from members of council? Any comments from members of the public? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And we're now on to the last capital projects resolution. Councilmember Little.
Thank you. The final capital projects resolution is number 7621, and this is to authorize professional services in excess of $17,500 for the Broad Street West redevelopment planning advisory services, not to exceed $65,000. So this is the phase 5 of the Broad Street redevelopment. This is for the topology services, who are our city planners. We have been meeting regularly with them. They've been guiding the city through this process. We are now in stage 5. And I will note that these services are subject to reimbursement from the escrow agreement with the redevelopers under the conditional designation agreement. So these, although we are approving this expenditure, should be reimbursed to the city under the agreement. And I ask that we authorize this professional services agreement.
I second it.
Are there any comments from members of council? Any comments from members of the public? Okay, seeing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So we're now on to the consent agenda portion of the meeting. At this point, unless any member of council has a comment on any of the consent agenda items, or if any member of the public does, if neither have any comments, we'll take the entire consent agenda as a whole. So do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
And a second, please?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. And we're now on to council members' comments or new business. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say at this point? Councilmember Naidu.
Thank you, Council President. The mayor and you referred to events that occurred a couple of weeks ago at the U.S. Capitol, but tomorrow another event is occurring at the U.S. Capitol, and that's the inauguration of a new president and vice president of the United States. And it's in the historic inauguration with respect to the vice presidency. And I think I speak probably for all of us and probably for the entire town of Summit, city of Summit, in wishing our new president and vice president best of luck in these extraordinary times, because their success is our success. And so with Godspeed, hopefully they will bring us out of this pandemic and renew our unity in this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Naidu. Very well said. And Councilmember Hairston, did you have something to say?
I do. Thank you, Council President. I don't want to belabor anyone's evening, especially tonight is Jerome's birthday, so I need to get to that. But I cannot let the evening go by without echoing the mayor's thank you to the Interfaith Council for the great MLK services that were conducted, and how proud I was of our police department for just organizing and executing a flawless traffic maneuvering. It was a great sight to see, and it's worth calling that out. And tonight, having the opportunity to attend the services held by the Interfaith, recognizing all those that were lost from COVID, the families who haven't been able to mourn, and even those who've dealt with sickness and not being able to see their families. Just appreciate that moment and just wanting to acknowledge what is good about Summit, and thank everyone.
Thank you, Councilmember Hairston. Are there any other comments from members of council? Okay, hearing none. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Have a good evening, everyone. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Happy birthday to Jerome.
Okay, thanks. I'll let
Happy
him know.
birthday, Jerome.